I do sometimes lie up here. I'm not proud of it. But sometimes we all have to lie. Like, even when I tell my children not to lie, I'm kind of lying to them. Some people are like, you should never lie to a child. And those people don't have kids. Because when you have kids, you lie to them all the time. You're like, you wouldn't like this ice cream. It's very spicy. I'd share, but Santa said I can't. Now, why don't you go to sleep so I can wrestle your mom? I'm not encouraging lying. I'm just saying there are times when you need to, right? Like if you're late to meet someone and you see that they're already angry and you don't have an excuse, you have to lie. Because if you told that person the truth, they would never speak to you again. You gotta be like, hey, I gotta come clean. I just couldn't motivate to get going. I mean, eventually I could. What I'm trying to say is I don't value your time. I've identified there are 2 times when it's socially acceptable to lie. To spare someone's feelings, it's okay to lie. It's also okay to lie to cover up a murder. Allow me to explain. When we discover someone's a murderer, we also learn they've done some fibbing. But we tend to focus on the murder part. You never hear, I'm angry he killed that guy, but frankly, I'm more upset about the lying. It's the dishonesty that bothers me. Some trust has been broken. Speaking of lying murderers, I watch a lot of Dateline. I don't want to brag. Some other winners out there. If you're unfamiliar or you have a life, Dateline is a news magazine show, like 60 Minutes, but at one point, Dateline just went all in on murder. And it's usually spousal murder. Like if you watch Dateline, it appears most marriages end in murder. Every episode starts the same. They had the perfect marriage. But you know someone's getting killed. A husband, a wife, sometimes they'll get someone else to kill their spouse, which seems impersonal. It's like you took a vow, do it yourself. Anyway, I was watching this one episode of Dateline about this guy who murdered his wife. It was gruesome. I was watching with my wife on our anniversary. My wife didn't care. I mean, she wasn't thrilled I was taking notes. What are you writing down? This guy's just sloppy. It's like he's trying to get caught. If anything, this guy's plan was foolproof. What he did on his anniversary is he threw a party for him and his wife, and they invited all their friends so that they could see how happy they were. And then the next morning, he took his wife fishing. He rented a boat, he brought a cooler, some tackle, 3 concrete blocks, and a tarp. You know, for fishing. And he would have gotten away with the whole thing. But 3 months after his wife disappeared at sea, he got engaged to a stripper, which is kind of suspicious. And to celebrate their engagement, they dropped acid, as tradition would have. And while tripping on acid, he admitted the whole thing to his fiancée. And she turned him in because she didn't appreciate the dishonesty. And as the episode ended, all I could think is, I'm a terrific husband. I've never even thought of murdering my wife. Well, I've never made plans to murder my wife. Well, I don't own concrete blocks. I can see some of you are like, Jim, I don't like the murder jokes. I don't like them. But wouldn't it be great if in a week you learned I was a murderer? Because then you could brag. You could be like, oh my gosh, we were at the taping for his special. And he had all these jokes on murder. Were they good? Not really, no. He was better at murder than comedy. I was released from the hospital the day after the surgery. They gave me painkillers. They also instructed me to do some walking, which I assume was part of the recovery, but it kind of felt like a commentary on my weight. Have you ever done any walking? Have you ever leaned forward and let your legs propel your fat ass? Let's take a break from your motorized scooter. And I was in Alaska, so I thought this was perfect. So I returned to my family, and we immediately went on a hike. And it was great. Alaska's beautiful. My kids were having fun. I was pretending like I enjoyed being outside. And then suddenly we saw a bear like 500 yards away, this huge brown bear, like way bigger than a gummy bear. And I was so excited because I watch nature shows, but I had never seen a bear in person. So it felt like a celebrity sighting. I was like, oh my God, I've watched you on Animal Planet. It's so much taller in person. Can we do a selfie? But unlike a celebrity sighting, there was the risk of death. Like you never hear, we're in a restaurant, Tom Hanks walked in, and then he came over and murdered my family. That never happens. But the bear was far away. So I took out my phone and I started taking pictures. And then suddenly the bear stood up, roared, and looked right at me. He started creeping towards me, tilting his head back and forth, almost like he recognized me. That guy looks like Philip Seymour Hoffman. I was terrified. Luckily, we were with a tour guide, and I looked at him, and he goes, don't worry, I have bear spray. And I was like, do you have anything stronger? Like a bear gun? Because I don't think this bear's approaching to get his hair done. And the bear kept coming. And then suddenly the tour guide goes, okay, I want everyone to start walking backwards slowly. Walk backwards slowly. I guess so the bear could catch up. So we started walking backwards slowly. By then, the bear was in a full sprint. I had surgery 12 hours ago, so I smelled delicious. I was also sunburned, so I probably looked like a giant land salmon. The bear couldn't believe his luck. Like, I'm not gonna have to eat for a month. He was like, I'm gonna die, I'm gonna be eaten by a bear. Which is ironic, given how many animals I've eaten. So I started humming Circle of Life and continued walking backwards slowly. I should point out, it's not like we were walking backwards slowly to a car or a cabin. We were walking backwards slowly to nothing. It probably looked like we were teasing the bear, like, come and get it, Mr. Bear. You looking to get a little grizzly? Craving a little 2XL, are you? And before you knew it, the bear was upon us, and he killed us, and we died. Such a bloody mess. No, what really happened is at one point, the tour guide pulled out this thing. It looked like a pen. I was like, great, he's gonna ask for the bear's autograph. And I learned later on it was a bear flare, and he squeezed it, and this tiny fireball went out towards the bear, and I was like, oh good, something to anger the bear. But the fireball bounced off the bear stopped, and then just ran the other way like it forgot something at home. And we all looked at each other like, oh my gosh, that just happened. And that's a true story. Well, most of that's true. Well, it's all true except there was no bear. No, there was a bear. I did love doing shows over there. You never knew what was going to work. Sometimes there's a language barrier. There's different references. There's famous people in other countries we've never heard of. I was doing this show in Ireland before, doing the sound check before the show, and the sound guy was like, do you have any special requests? And I jokingly said, well, I'll probably close my show by singing Raglan Road, which is a famous Irish folk song based on a famous Irish poem. And the sound guy was like, oh, I don't recommend that. And I was like, wow, I was kidding, but why? And he goes, well, recently Billy Joel did that. And I was like, who's Billy Joel? And he goes, you don't know who Billy Joel is. I was like, I'm from another country. I don't know who's famous here. What is it, Superman's dad? I don't know. He goes, Billy Joel is from America. And I was like, oh my gosh, there's an American who's famous in Ireland that I've never heard of. There's no Billy Joel, piano man, uptown girl. And I was like, oh, you mean Billy Joel? And he goes, no, it's Billy Joel. And for a second I thought, maybe he's right. This wouldn't be the first time I discovered I mispronounced someone's name for my entire life. In my mind, I started going through every conversation I had on Billy Joel. I'm like, did anyone else say Billy Joel? When I said Billy Joel, did anyone look at me strange? And then I remembered, you know who pronounces it Billy Joel? Billy Joel. And at that point, the opening act had come in, and he was also from Ireland. And I said, hey, this sound guy calls Billy Joel Billy Joel. And the Irish comic goes, it is Billy Joel. I was like, is everyone crazy in this country? What, there's no one in Ireland named Joel? And he goes, yeah, we call them Joel. And I was like, well, then what would you call someone who's actually named Joel? And he goes, you mean like Billy Joel? Stop it! No! I loved Ireland. I spent 2 weeks there. One of the weeks I was in Donegal, which is a county in the northwestern part of the Republic. And I noticed something. Everyone in Donegal has a washer and dryer, but nobody uses their dryer. They're like, that won't be necessary. We'll just hang that out to dry. And I was kind of skeptical, but I was staying with friends, and they offered to do my laundry. So they took my clothes, and they washed it, and they hung it out to dry. And I was kind of impressed, because after only 3 days, my clothes were still wet. Because what they've yet to realize is it rains every day in Donegal. It's like living in a shower. But my friend, she was so proud of the line dried. She goes, isn't that just better? Doesn't that smell glorious? Meanwhile, I'm holding a wet t-shirt. Yeah, this is great. I can just pretend I got off a log ride. Nothing better than waking up on a cold morning and putting on a wet Billy Joel t-shirt. I've been in better shape in my life. I go in and out, you know, it's been a while, not last year, but the year before. My big accomplishment is I ran the New York City Marathon. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Half of you are like, no, you didn't. I did, you bastards. All right? I ran and completed. All right, fine, I didn't. But I thought about it. Which I guess is technically different than running it. Turns out I couldn't run the New York City Marathon because I didn't want to. Which is the main reason I don't do a lot of things. I just rarely admit it. It's like, hey, Jim, why don't you come to my birthday party? I didn't want to. We never really reply to invitations that way. Don't want to go. Completely available, just not interested. Really wish I wasn't there, so I won't be. I know people who have run the New York City Marathon. They always bring it up. They're like, yeah, I ran the New York City Marathon. I was asked, did you win? No, but I finished. What place you come in? I don't know. Sounds like you came in last. Really, what you're saying is you lost the New York City Marathon. If I were you, I wouldn't bring that up. But that's why some people run marathons, so that they can say, I ran a marathon, which to me is not a good enough reason. Heck, I can say I ran a marathon. In fact, earlier I did. Didn't feel good, it felt dishonest. I guess what I'm trying to say is marathon runners are liars. All of them. It's too far, it's way too far. 26.2 miles, that's too far to run, jog, or frankly drive, let's be serious. But you know what? I'm not a runner. I'm not a runner. Half of you are like, we never thought you were. At this point, we're not sure if you're a walker. But running is huge, right? There are stores just for runners. There's magazines dedicated to running. Runner's World, a magazine all about running. And if you thought running was boring, wait till you read about running. At this point, is there any information we don't have on running? Oh, you're supposed to use your arms when you run. What? I think I've been running backwards. No wonder I keep losing. The runner's high. I'm sure that's not a myth. Let me get this right. You're confusing exhaustion for high? Have you ever been high before? How can you confuse I can't breathe with joy? The runner's high. Has anyone ever used that as an excuse? Sorry, I ate all the chips, runner's high. Yeah, I ran a 10K in high school. I think I'm still high. But there's running, and then there's running a marathon. You know you have to pay to run a marathon? What? For the New York City Marathon, you have to pay $250 to run by yourself 26 miles. That's some S&M stuff there. That's like the subplot of a Law & Order Special Victims Unit. You gotta pay that up front. It's not like there's like a toll system, like 13 miles, my chip, what is this, a chip reader? You ever see the beginning of a marathon? All the runners line up in their voluntary prison number. And then someone shoots a gun, red flag. And the runners disperse like Godzilla's approaching. Ah! Why is there a weapon involved in a foot race? Whatever happened to someone saying, go? All right, let's review how we're gonna start the marathon. We'll get all the lemmings lined up there, and then without any warning, Cooter will shoot his .357. In the air this time, Cooter. Then we'll just sit back, count the money, and watch some of them soil themselves. You ever see the winner of a marathon? They do not look healthy. They look like they were forced to run a marathon. Like it was some negotiation as part of ransom. I finished, now can I have my children? I ran 26 miles, I drank my own urine, I'm wearing a tinfoil blanket. What's going on with my kids? Of course, I respect people who run marathons. Heck, I'm impressed by the people who pass out water at marathons. I was looking at them like, I couldn't do that. Probably gotta get up early. Then you gotta find cups. Then there's passing out all that water. My arm's just sore thinking about it. At least those people are doing something at the marathon. You ever see the rest of the people watching the marathon? They're like, what is going on in your life? If you're watching strangers run a marathon. I suppose some of them are there supporting friends. You know, I wouldn't want that. I don't even want someone to see me in a hurry. That seems like a big request of a friend, right? Hey, can you watch me run 26 miles? Only take your entire Sunday. You can only watch someone run part of a marathon. It's not that big of a commitment. It's like, you can do it. All right, I'm going to brunch. But you can watch someone run a marathon. You can't go into a health club and watch someone on a treadmill. Excuse me, sir, what are you doing? I'm supporting that lady. Do you know her? Not yet. But I brought her this lock for the bridge. We are a country that loves to bet on horses. Every spring we track the 3 races of the Triple Crown, and every spring I always have the same thought. We're still doing this? Is Woodrow Wilson president? But people love the Triple Crown. The Kentucky Derby, where people bet on horses while they're dressed like characters from Gone with the Wind. It's like prom for gamblers. Do you like my hat? I'm living in my sister's garage. Because I have a debilitating gambling addiction. Shall we have another mint julep? They always announce the winner of each race on the news. You can always tell the horse was named by a guy on his 8th wife. The horse is always named like Viagra's Revenge. Alimony be damned. They show a picture of the winning horse on the news. They could show us a picture of any horse. We wouldn't know the difference. I don't know what we're supposed to do with that horse image. It's not like we're going to run into that horse in a bar. Excuse me, did you win the Kentucky Derby? I did. I won the Kentucky Derby. Now I'm in a bar enjoying a Hefeweizen. There is the classic photo of the winning horse, right? They're always wearing that huge horseshoe wreath of flowers they stole from someone's gravesite. Standing next to the winning horse is the owner of the horse, who did not train the horse, did not ride the horse, and based on body language, has never really met the horse. There the owner stands, looking like they've never paid taxes. Sitting on top of the winning horse is the jockey, who's dressed like he just came from the local pride parade. They always interview the jockey expecting some insight. They're like, how'd you win? The jockey's like, I whipped the horse and it ran. It's very rare for a horse to win all 3 races of the Triple Crown, mainly because they're horses and they don't care. Mostly they just want someone to stop whipping them because they're horses. I didn't know this. After the Triple Crown, all those horses retire. They retire at the age of 3, which feels early. They retire, and then they're sent out to stud. Those horses get paid to have sex, which in some ways is better than winning the Triple Crown. That's like the quadruple crown. That's got to be an adjustment for those horses. Like, hey, remember when we whipped you and we wanted you to run? Well, now when we whip you, we're going to have you do something a little different. How many horse jokes is this guy going to do? I never thought I'd miss a murder joke. There's a lot more horse jokes. And if you haven't noticed, I know nothing about horses. I don't horseback ride, mainly because I prefer to be comfortable, and it's not the 1800s. I'm sure the horses aren't thrilled either. They're like, why am I carrying you around? I saw you drive up in a Honda Civic. But people like the horseback ride. I have a friend, she told me the reason she enjoys horseback riding is because she loves horses, which seems like a strange way of expressing love for something. Making it carry you around on its back. I mean, I love my great Aunt Katie. I'm not gonna make her carry me around on her back. Not anymore, yeah? I don't even know why we have to specify that it's horseback riding. Other people are like, hey, you wanna ride a horse? What part? The part that looks like a seat, the back. Oh, good, because I've done horse ass riding. That was painful. I kept falling off. I should probably tell you, the rest of the show is all horse jokes. Is he serious? There are different types of horses. He's gonna keep going, isn't he? No, there are breeds of horses, right? Which is different from horse breeding. I don't know if you've ever seen 2 horses breed, but that'll keep you awake at night. If you've never seen 2 horses breed, do not YouTube it. Do not YouTube it and print out still images. Don't do that. Don't affix your face on one of the images and show your wife think it's funny. She won't think it's funny. But that says more about her than you. What was I talking about? Horses. It's strange how we treat horses. We give horses shoes. I don't even know if horses need shoes. You never see a horse in the wild walking around like, ow, ow. Wish I had some damn shoes. We give horses shoes that are metal. Metal? That's worse than Crocs. That must be hard to shop for, right? Do you have anything in metal, but not a slip-on, something I could nail to my foot? That's what we do, we nail it to their foot. And when we're not doing that, we're literally tossing the horseshoe around as a game. The horse must be like, what the hell are you doing with my shoes? Probably looks like we're taunting the horse. Hey, horse, why don't you come and get your shoes? Why don't you go and grab it all you can because you don't have hands? The horseshoe, a symbol of luck for everyone but the horse. I don't know if this is true. Someone told me that when horses are sent out to stud, some female horses will wear high heel horseshoes. Makes them more confident. I'm gonna be paying for this later on, huh? Oh, and I've been on my feet all day. That's gotta be the end of the horse jokes. Horse people, and I'm not talking about people that are half horse, half human, which are centaurs, and they don't exist anymore, right? No, people who own horses will tell you that the horse can't even feel the nail going in their foot. Not that anyone's ever heard a horse go, that's fine, hammer away. Next time, glue, just don't tell me where you got the glue from. Oh, that was too edgy? There's no horses in here. There's not a horse in the front row going, hey, take it easy on the glue, Joe. I love how some of you look forward. Is there a horse up there? It's strange how we treat horses, you know? The most shocking way we treat horses is when they break their leg, we shoot them. That's a harsh medical plan. And someone explained the reason they shoot horses when they break their leg is because it's unlikely the leg will heal properly. And I was like, unlikely? So there's a chance? Can you imagine how stressed out horses must be? Like, I stepped on a branch. It was a branch! Put down the gun! Look at the branch! It's a branch! Even if they're injured, they're like, I'll walk it off. I'm gonna walk it off. Put the gun down. Jeez, you guys, anyone... You ever heard of Ben Gay? What's going on? Put down the... I can see on some of your faces that you would frankly prefer if I did more horse jokes. Okay. It's odd how we treat horses, because we live in this era where we treat our dogs and cats as family members. People are always trying to get their dog on an airplane. You know, it's just a matter of time before someone brings a horse on a plane. Are you kidding me? This is my therapy horse. He keeps me calm on the flight. Oh, we'd like to welcome our silver medallion members to board. And anyone traveling with a farm animal, you can board at gate 47. Feel free to grab some sugar cubes that we've... Horsepower. Horsepower is so different from girl power. Do you know what I mean? It's like, you go, horse. Hey, hey, is what horses eat. Okay, I can tell at this point there's probably 1 or 2 or 300 of you that are frankly annoyed by the horse jokes. And I want you to know that your annoyance gives me pleasure. All right, you know what? That's no more horse jokes, I promise. All right? Anyway, ponies are completely different. Here's the problem with doing roughly 10 minutes of horse jokes. Besides the audience hating you for the rest of their lives, is for the next couple minutes, you will all be like, is there a horse joke coming? Or you're gonna be like, he could have put a horse joke in there. He didn't use the reference giddy up. Why wouldn't he put it in there? But I want you to put the horse jokes aside. Put them in a barn. And I'm gonna talk about something else. Maybe. No, it's over.
Hi, thanks for watching. Hit subscribe if you want. If you want to see more stand-up, I have more stand-up, or if you want to see an original show like Let's Get Cooking or the Mike and Pat Show, that's available on my channel. But also, just know that I'll be posting a new video every day during this pandemic or until the world ends. Please hit subscribe and turn on your alert or notification button.